Day by Day Kids Bible, Day 213. Who dares to do this? Esther 7. Haman and the king went to Esther's dinner. They drank wine. Then the king asked Esther, "What do you want? I'll give you whatever you ask for. You can even have half of my kingdom if you want." Then Queen Esther said, "Please save my life. That's what I want. Save my people. If you don't, we will be killed." "Who is this enemy?" asked the king. "Where is the man who would dare to do this?" "The enemy is this hateful man Haman," said Esther. Haman was very scared. The king got up. He was very angry. He went out to the garden. Haman saw that the king had made up his mind. The king knew what he'd do to Haman. So Haman stayed with Queen Esther. He begged her to save his life. The king came back into the room. There he saw Haman holding onto Esther's chair, begging her. "Will you even try to touch my queen?" cried the king. Then the servants pulled Haman away. One servant said, "A tall hanging pole stands next to Haman's house. He was going to hang Mordecai on it, but Mordecai is the one who saved your life." "Hang Haman on that pole," said the king. So they hung Haman on the pole he had made for Mordecai. Then the king stopped being angry. Fast horses carry the news. Esther 8, 1 through 10, 14 through 17. That day, the king gave Haman's house to Esther. He gave Haman's land to Esther too. Then Esther told the king that Mordecai was her cousin. So the king called for Mordecai to come see him. Now the king had taken his ring back from Haman, so he gave this ring to Mordecai. Then Esther put Mordecai in charge of Haman's land. Esther bowed at the king's feet. She cried. She asked him to stop the killing of the Jews. The king held out his gold rod. Esther stood up in front of the king. "Please write another law," she said. "Write a law that will stop the killing. How can I stand to see my people killed?" "No law can be changed," said the king. "That's because it was written in my name. It was sealed with my ring. But you can write another law in my name. Write it to help the Jews. Do whatever seems best to you." So Mordecai wrote a new law. It was written in every language. Mordecai wrote the law in the king's name. He sealed it with the king's ring. The law said that the Jews could fight back. They could kill anyone who tried to kill them. Mordecai sent men throughout all the country. They rode the king's fast horses. They raced out of the city to tell everyone the new law. Then Mordecai left the king. The king had given him blue and white clothes to wear. Mordecai also wore a big gold crown and a purple robe. Then the city had a holiday. It was happy. It was a joyful time for the Jews. All the Jews who heard the king's new law were glad. So there were parties and dinners everywhere. In fact, lots of other people became Jews. That's because they were afraid of the Jews. The holiday. Esther 9, 1 through 5, 12 through 14, 17 through 32, and 10. Now the day came to kill the Jews. That's what the first law said. It was the day that the enemies of the Jews had wanted. But the second law said the Jews could fight back. So the Jews got together in every city. They got ready to fight people who would fight them. Nobody could win against the Jews. All the other people were scared of them. Even the leaders helped the Jews. They were afraid of Mordecai. Mordecai was now an important man at the palace. People everywhere had heard about him. He got more and more power. So the Jews killed their enemies that day. The king told Queen Esther about it. "Now, what would you like to have?" he asked. "I'll give you whatever you want." "Let the Jews keep fighting their enemies tomorrow," said Esther, "and get rid of Haman's sons." So the king gave the order. The Jews fought against their enemies the next day, and Haman's sons were killed too. The day after that, the Jews rested. It was a day of big, happy dinners. That's why Jews make that day a holiday every year. It's a day when they give presents to each other. Mordecai wrote all of this down. He sent letters to all the Jews in the land. The letter told them to have a 2-day holiday. He told them to have big dinners. He told them to be happy. He told them to give gifts to each other. He told them to give gifts to poor people too. They call this day Purim. That's because Haman and his friends were thrown the pur. It was like throwing dice. That's how they chose the day when they would kill the Jews. So every family of Jews would remember this holiday every year. Queen Esther and Mordecai wrote a letter. It said that Purim would be a holiday. Mordecai sent the letter to all Jews in the land. It cheered up all the Jews. Now the king made his people pay taxes. His kingdom was very big and great. The king was the boss, but Mordecai was the next man in charge. The Jews liked Mordecai. He worked to treat them right. He spoke up for them.